Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Maurice, the sports historian, back again with another video. And today we got Payback, next day thoughts and reactions. I'm gonna be honest, going into this pay-per-view, I didn't have the biggest of expectations. Obviously, I didn't think we were going to leave completely disappointed with this pay-per-view, but just some of the matches didn't have the craziest build-up, and some of them I wasn't really looking that much forward to. But I can say that I was pleasantly surprised by a good bunch of this pay-per-view. And we're gonna start off in order. So we're gonna start off with Trish versus Becky in a steel cage. I have all of my notes written down for the matches, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at the notes. But yeah, the Trish versus Becky in the steel cage had good action, had a good amount of reversals. They used the cage a lot. Like a lot. Whether that be them smashing each other face into the cage, throwing them into the cage was being used as a weapon, as it should be. During the match, there was a point where I think Trish had got Becky off the top rope, and then Becky went for some move, she countered, and then she hits her with a widow's peak. If you guys didn't know, the first steel cage match in WWE was held between Lita and Victoria. If you don't know who Victoria is, if you've watched TNA, she went by Tara when she went to TNA. So that was cool. And then shortly after, Becky hit the Twist of Fate. That was pretty damn cool. Then shortly after, we had the Trish cage spot where she was climbing up the cage to escape, made really good progress to escape. After that, Becky caught up, obviously did her thing, pulled her back inside the cage. Her legs slipped in between the cage, and so on the steel cage, there's a top rung that they sit around whenever they're doing, spots on top of the cage. They sit on that. The cage is in the middle, right? And then the top rungs it extends past just the cage. So she slipped her leg through that, but in between the cage. And then Becky hits her with a right that knocks her out, and then she just goes completely vertical, and she's dangling off of the cage by just her knees. That was fucking cool. Dangerous as shit though. And it looked like it hurt because on the way down, she definitely hit her head on the cage, and I imagine that couldn't have been good on her knees either. It was wicked, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely wicked. Then after that spot, we obviously got Zoe Stark interference. What had happened was Becky was trying to climb out the cage. Trish was trying to escape through the door, but Becky realized that she wasn't going to climb out the cage before Trish gets to the door. She stops climbing, tries to pull her back, and then Zoe Stark appears out of nowhere, tries to pull her out of the cage through the door. Doesn't work, so Zoe Stark enters, and she closes the cage door behind her, signaling to Becky that she wants to fight. They fight, they have their back and forth, and the match ended up ending with Becky Lynch hitting a manhandle slam from the top rope to get the 1, 2, 3. And I'm not gonna lie, this might be my favorite or second favorite match of the night. And they started us off with a banger. I was very happy with what we got from that. And then after the match, we got Zoe Stark, trying to help Trish Stratus after the loss. Trish Stratus wasn't going for none. She told her get out. She slapped her in the face. And what did Zoe Stark do? She went to the cage door, which was open because Becky walked through it, and she closed it. And that signaled the end of Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus. So hopefully we get to see good things from Zoe Stark, both Zoe and Trish separately now after this pay-per-view. I got no complaints with that match. Everything was smooth, and everything looked great. I will say, this would have been a great way to end off this match if it had ended at SummerSlam. Next up, we're gonna go with Miz and LA Knight. So before the match, there was a funny Miz Cena promo, as they do. They got good chemistry on the mic, so they bounced a few things off each other. It got a laugh out of me, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, what else did I want to talk about into this? So I forget which move LA Knight was going for, but he slipped outside of the ring, and then Miz just face planted him on the announce table. That shit was funny. It looked like it hurt like hell, but hey, hopefully LA all good after that. They used the barricade a good amount in this match. I think LA Knight had used it to launch. You know how they do this, the show to launch. He launched Miz over the barricade into the timekeeper area. And then I think LA Knight had also jumped off and hit him with a clothesline from off the barricade. So that was good stuff. LA Knight, he was beating the LA Knight can't wrestle allegations. And he's beaten them a few times now. And there was nothing too remarkable about the match. I did like the back and forth that they had. And I don't think that this is over. I hope it's not over. I hope it goes towards Survivor Series, but that's for another video. I didn't even mention John Cena was the special guest referee. Inside the match, LA Knight and John Cena had like a small back and forth. And then after the match, it looked like we were gonna see LA Knight and John Cena tussle one more time. But John Cena took his ref uniform off for some reason, and then he gave him that John Cena stamp, raised his hand after the end of the match. So I think that officially marks, if he hasn't been for the entirety of this Miz feud, I think that officially marks his face turn. So good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Moving on to probably the best match on the card, Sami and KO versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the undisputed tag team titles in a Pittsburgh Steel City street fight. Bro, hey, the first thing I want to mention is that Finn Balor, you my dog, because you stepped on the terrible towel. If you guys didn't know, I'm a Ravens fan, so fuck that terrible towel. Finn Balor, you my nigga for that. I fuck with you, I fuck with you. But no, getting into the match, KO had, he ripped off his usual muscle shirt to reveal a Terry Funk tribute underneath, so shout out to KO for that, and rest in peace to Terry Funk. Obviously, with Sami and KO, they know how to use weapons. This match had very good use of weapons. They use kendo sticks, they use chairs, they use garbage cans. I love when they use garbage cans. I feel like garbage cans don't get utilized enough, and I was glad that they brought those out when KO had put the garbage can on top of Finn Balor, and then Sami handed him a kendo stick, and they was just whacking it with kendo sticks. I always love when they do that. But this match was hella chaotic. Dominic interfered twice. They was outside in the crowd a lot, so much so that they went to the pre-show area. You know how they have the pre-show. So okay, so Sami off of the announcer pre-show table. You know how he does when he builds momentum and he jumps outside of the ring and he does the little, you know what I'm trying to do. He did that, except he did it and like hit a senton after. So that was cool. That was like cool as fuck. I didn't think he was gonna do that. I thought he was just gonna, take him out normally. Bro, they got so much agility in the air. That's just insane to me. Dominic interfered the first time. Like the cameras cut away from Sami and KO, and then it pans back to him. And these motherfuckers are in Pittsburgh Penguins gear. If you guys didn't know, they were in Pittsburgh for the pay-per-view. That's why it's called a Pittsburgh Steel City Street Fight. But they was in Pittsburgh Penguins gear, and they was just beating their ass with hockey sticks, bro. Like, that was funny. And KO was bleeding, which isn't crazy, but he was bleeding like a lot. So I don't think I don't think he bladed. I think he might have actually got cut up during the match when they actually went back to the ring. I had assumed KO had like wiped himself off, but they probably just patched him up real quick because it didn't take too long. He was really, really red for a good portion of that brawl. I think it was right as he put on the Pittsburgh Penguins gear. Like, that's when we noticed, like, oh shit, KO's busted open. So yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. By the second time they had, gone outside of the ring and into the crowd, this motherfucker KO sets up Damien. He sets up Dominic on a table, and he like climbs on some WWE equipment. And the best way I can describe it is, if you ever watch basketball and you see where the players come out, like you see the row of fans that sits above them, he jumped off of that and hit a swanton through the table to Dominic, bro. This match was fucking crazy. And then, if that wasn't enough, that put him out of commission for a good bit. So it was just Sami facing off against Finn Balor and Priest. They had some good back and forth. By the time KO actually does get back, he's, standing near the barricade, and out of nowhere comes Rhea, who spears him through the fucking barricade. So that was like I said, this match was really chaotic. I enjoyed the chaos. This feud, for as unfortunate as it has been, because KO has been out for some time, for the past 2 months, and he just recently came back. This feud needed something like this to turn it back up a notch. Like, if this was a regular tag team match and it ended how it ended, I would have been like, all right, that was cool. But with this being no DQ, I really feel like they took advantage, and they got people back invested into this feud. If it continues beyond this, it may not. But after KO had got speared, that was basically it. Except Sammy, he was fighting off, bro. He was fighting off Finn and Priest pretty damn well. I think he hit Priest with a haluva kick, and it looked like he was gonna get the 1, 2, 3. And then out of nowhere, this motherfucker JD McDonough comes out, pulls him off the pin, and then he gets pop-up power bombed onto the announce table. So I think, this was before KO got speared, because I don't think he got up after that. But he gets pop-up power bombed, not through the announce table, but on the announce table. Oh yeah, so it was still just Sammy. Finn ends up going for the coup de grace, doesn't land it. Sammy gets in position for the haluva kick, hits the haluva kick, 1, 2. Dominic comes in with the Money in the Bank briefcase and bashes Sammy over the head with it. And then after that, Finn Balor, he gets the lazy cover, the 1, 2, 3, and new undisputed tag team champions, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. So, if you guys did not know, that means that all of Judgment Day has gold now. We got Rhea with the Women's World Championship, Dominic Mysterio with the NXT North American Championship, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, who are the undisputed tag champions, as well as Damian Priest being Senior Money in the Bank. They really love putting all the gold on the heel factions, man. They love doing that. Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory for the United States title. I'm not gonna lie, because we've seen this, a different version of this a few times, I wasn't crazy looking forward to this match. But Rey Mysterio and Austin Theory, it was another branded match. This is the second time Rey Mysterio's been in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch match, which I just find funny because, like, why? Like I said, Theory has very good chemistry with Rey Mysterio. Some of the things that happen in the match, bro, Rey Mysterio, he was going for his usual baseball slide, and I thought he was just gonna end it with a splash like he normally does. Nah, he goes into the baseball slide and turns it into a tornado DDT. And boy, hey, I'm not gonna lie, that tornado DDT, it popped me a little bit. I can't lie. There was good back and forth between the match. I never felt like Rey was clearly gonna win it, and I never felt like Theory was just dominating and gonna lose to some bullshit. It was back and forth, and I appreciate that in a good match. I don't have too much to say about it, except for this one spot, which is kind of how the match ended. Rey went for a 619. He hit the 619. Instead of going for the West Coast Pop afterwards, he went for he was on the apron and he went for a splash using the top rope, so a springboard splash, if I'm not mistaken. Theory counters it, gets his knees up, counters it, rolls him up, tries to hit him with the A-Town down. It doesn't work. Rey Mysterio counters that into a roll-up. 1, 2, 3. So with this being a roll-up victory, we clearly haven't seen the last of this Rey Mysterio and Austin Theory feud. I think it's gonna involve the LWO a little bit more. Yeah, that was a pretty good match. Rey retains, got the roll-up pin, and I don't know. I'm just waiting on Theory to turn face. That's all I'm waiting on. I'm not gonna lie. Next up was the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson Waller was mad condescending, as he usually is. His guest was Cody Rhodes, which I have a question about, but I think it'll be answered on Monday. If it's not answered on Monday, then I guess it'll be answered on Friday, but I don't know. During this segment, Cody Rhodes was the guest. I'm not sure why Cody was the one to announce this, but I guess it's building towards, something in the future. And if what I think actually happened, then WrestleMania plans are already in effect for SmackDown at least. So what actually happened? Cody revealed that, hey, I've been seeing what's going on SmackDown. I'm not fucking with it. So I pulled whatever, and this is what he said. I pulled whatever muscles I had, flexed whatever muscles I had, backstage politics, and got main event Jey Uso moved over to Raw. So Jey Uso is now a member of Monday Night Raw. Now, what does that mean? Well, I think it means three things. Number one, they're actually trying to make the brand split matter somewhat. I don't know how they can keep doing that if they keep undermining it by having people show up to NXT. I guess the NXT isn't really undermining it because it's not. Those aren't the two brands that are, in competition with each other, I guess. But like, you keep undermining it by having SmackDown stars on Raw, Raw stars on SmackDown. The only mulligan that I'll give is the most recent main event to SmackDown. Obviously, LA Knight and Finn Balor having that match, that was due to Bray Wyatt's passing. So I'm not gonna be an asshole and be like, oh, they weren't following kayfabe. Duh, motherfucker, they wasn't. It was a tribute match. But even with this pay-per-view, like the LA Knight and Miz feud, that's been a cross-brand feud, and they both showed up on each other's shows. And it hasn't. I'm cool with it, but like, where are we gonna draw the line between, all right, the brand split matters and the brand split doesn't matter? You drafted some of these people, and some of them still haven't showed up. Not, but that's neither here nor there. And then not even a month after the draft had finished, or it might not even been like 2 months, you had AJ Styles main event a match on Raw. Granted, that was after Night of Champions, and it hasn't happened since. But like, if you're gonna do this brand split thing, like, make it actually matter. That was number one. Number two, if you guys remember, during the draft, somebody had mentioned on the announce team that people were eligible to be traded. Now, I had always kept this in the back of my mind because that was how they get Cody to SmackDown without it just being bullshit, was they do some type of trade. And if that is the case, then does that mean Cody got traded to SmackDown? Because again, he said that he pulled whatever backstage politics he had and got this deal done. I don't think that in kayfabe, SmackDown would have just been willing to let Jay go, if that makes sense. The third portion that I wanted to bring up was can lead to Cody actually finishing the story again if he gets traded over to SmackDown as a part of Jey Uso joining Raw. As far as Jey Uso joining Raw, I'm very, very excited. I'm glad that they can give this bloodline story, at least involving Jay, a rest a little bit, because it seems like they jumped a few sharks, especially on the most recent episode of SmackDown, which I have my opinions about that, but again, that's not for this YouTube video. But yeah, I'm cool with that. Again, I like Jey Uso. It gives the bloodline story a bit of a rest when in regards to Jey Uso, so that he's not there whenever they start to pick back up and have Roman, do more title defenses, which please, hopefully it could be soon. I'm tired of the title not being defended. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, hopefully this leads to Cody finishing the story. We got 2 more matches after this. One of them I took notes for, the other one I did not, because it was the main event, and I pretty much remembered what happened in that. Rhea versus Raquel for the women's world title. I'm not gonna lie, this match was probably the most underwhelming on the card, and it wasn't a bad match per se. It was just very slow. Their previous encounters in NXT were significantly better. I don't know why this didn't have some sort of stipulation. Maybe this feud isn't over. I wouldn't be opposed to it not being over, because if that was the end of the feud and it barely got started, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of underwhelmed. Rhea showed up in China, like China inspired gear, looked great. It had a good amount of in-ring theatrics. It was talking to each other in the ring, which I liked. It looked like Rhea's nose piercing had gotten ripped out. She was bleeding from her nose. It looked like maybe her nose piercing got pulled out, and that's why she was bleeding like that. But I mean, she got that fixed up right after she wiped it away. This match was slow, and I say slow because the action. I say slow, meaning like they took breaks between good portions of the action, and they didn't fill it with regular filler moves that they do. I feel like this match had a lot of spots that were meant to make you go ooh, but they happened too far and few in between, if that makes any sense. It had plenty of them, but this match, I think if you shave a good 4, 5, 6 minutes off this match, condense everything up, it would have been a better product. And again, I didn't dislike the match. It was just kind of slow. Raquel got some good offense in. She had Rhea in powerbomb position, and then pushed her spine into the ring post, and then she slung her into the barricade, so that's good. Dominic interfered, and he tried to get out the ring, and he got power slammed, and he sold it like hell. That was funny. Using that was actually how Rhea ended up retaining, because Dominic is the Judgment Day MVP, and his interferences matter the most. After that power slam, Rhea set her up for the Riptide. She hit her, one and done, 1, 2, 3, and still women's world champion Rhea Ripley. They got to turn Rhea's reign up. And again, this is not the fault on well, at least this not. I don't want to say this match, but her reign has not been. It's not been her fault that it's been this bad. They've just booked her like shit, and I didn't like it. Well, I haven't liked it up until this point. They need to turn her reign up for real, bro. They need to do it. But moving on to the main event, Shinsuke Nakamura faces off against Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. The fun fact, this is actually the first time Shinsuke Nakamura has main evented a WWE pay-per-view, which is kind of crazy considering how long he's been there. And he hasn't main evented, but hey, sometimes it just be like that. That also speaks to how WWE likes to mismanage their talent, but what do I know? Bro, this match, I'm not gonna lie, this match was great. Had the usual back and forth stuff that we wanted. Seth Rollins can wrestle, Shinsuke Nakamura can wrestle. I don't have anything super spectacular to say about this match. I feel like it was a little bit like, oh, it ended a little sudden, especially when you consider how the SummerSlam match ended between him and Finn Balor, and you know, all of the theatrics that went into that and all the extra shit. But nah, bro, this was a cool match. I enjoyed it for the most part. Shinsuke and Seth both played into the injury. Shinsuke was targeting his lower back a lot. Seth, obviously, I don't think that injury was fake. So his lower back getting targeted, and he really feeling it. So he got it, you know, he's selling it, but he really not selling it. That's just how he was feeling. Yeah, there was some good action, some good spots between this match. Hey, I like this match. I kind of want them to run it back at Fastlane. I don't want this feud to be over with, because that would have been another like little quick feud for him to have. Nah, extend this out to the next pay-per-view. Don't have Shinsuke give up on his title chase just yet. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about this match. It was a very good match. I enjoyed it. Seth Rollins retained, obviously. Listen, Seth Rollins, you need to drop the belt, because that injury shit, it wasn't capped. We know it wasn't capped. But I got a theory on what they're gonna do with Seth Rollins and when he's gonna drop the belt. And if he drops it when I think he's gonna drop it, then y'all gonna be in for a treat when I record the video for that. But that was my Payback thoughts and reactions. Let me know what you guys thought about the pay-per-view. I hope I was brief with this. It's a 30-minute recording. I'm gonna try to cut it down to 20, if I can get it to below 25. Hopefully I can. But if you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. Let me know what your favorite match was if you got this far into the video. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.